Estate Show with Pat Lopez, where we talk everything real estate. For this show, we're going to talk about Fannie Mae updating their predictions for interest rates and home appreciation. Also, I'm going to talk about credit reports. There's some new information coming out on what you will be able to see and won't be able to see on the credit report. But let's jump into Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae just updated their prediction for the end of 2025, where they think interest rates are going to fall. And they're thinking interest rates are going to be 6.4%, a little bit lower than what they thought in the beginning of the year. So the projection is 6.4% by the end of 2025. And they're thinking in 2026, by the end of 26, the interest rate should be 6%. So hopefully those rates will come true. We always want rates to be a little bit lower than where they're at now, because a lot of people are on the sideline or just can't afford a house with the higher interest rates. Pretty much all year, interest rates have been fluctuating in the high sixes to low sevens, but primarily high sixes, and it's been pretty steady because years past we've had big fluctuations where interest rates were as low as maybe 5 3/4 and as high as 7 1/2. So big fluctuations in year past. This year it's been pretty consistent in the high sixes. So we're going to see if their projections come out correct or not. Also, they are looking for appreciation, how high home prices will go up. Well, they're actually thinking home prices are going to come down off of their predictions. So they predicted that home appreciation in 2025 would be a little bit over 4%, like 4.1%. Now they revised their projections to be at 2.8%. So if you're a home buyer or a home seller, you may not be happy. But if you're a home buyer, you're happy, because affordability, like I just said, is one of the toughest things and is the biggest obstacle for somebody to be able to buy the house. So if these interest rates can come down a little bit, appreciation slows down or it's flat, that's a positive for the overall real estate market. Now, let me preface this by saying real estate is local. We're going to have parts of the country where we're actually going to see a decline in prices. So if a house was $300,000, now it may be only worth $280,000 in some parts of the country. And there's other parts of the country that $300,000 house next year may be $320,000 or $330,000, a little bit higher. But we're just talking projection averages throughout the country. 100% slowdown in appreciation, and that's their thoughts, and hopefully interest rates will continue to drift down. So that's your Fannie Mae update on what their projection of where housing and pricing is going to go. Now let's jump into the second topic, and that topic is going to be credit and medical collection accounts now appearing on the credit report. Now, how did this all happen? There was a judge in Texas, a federal judge, who just had a ruling, and we're talking about this is the end of July, and he did it a week ago, stating that credit collection accounts can now appear on the credit report. Now, what was the thinking? Did he get his judgment from? Well, he said that the CFPB, which is the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, overstepped their bounds by saying these medical collection accounts can't be on the credit report. And he's saying that conflicts with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that they overstepped their bounds of saying they can do that. Now, why did that even come up? Well, there was two groups. You had the Consumer Data Industry Association and the Cornerstone Credit Union League. They sued. They went in front of the judge saying that, hey, this was unconstitutional, or the CFPB overstepped their bounds. Now, do I think medical collections should be on credit or not? I don't think they should. If anybody's ever gotten sick, I'm sure you've gotten a million pieces of mail saying you owe this, you owe that, you're not quite sure what you owe, what you don't owe. You call the doctor, you call the hospital, you're calling your insurance company, and it's just like nobody knows what they're doing. It's absurd. So do I think it's unfair that medical collections show up? Yeah, me personally, I do think it's unfair. But now, what's going to happen in reality? What is going to be the outcome of this? Well, if you're applying for a mortgage and now all of a sudden you have a medical collection appearing on your report, there's certain guidelines or certain programs that say you as a lender, you don't have to look at that medical collection. But the problem is that the credit bureau, since it's on there and the scoring system sees that there's a collection account, your credit scores are going to drop. So let's say you had a 680 credit score and now all of a sudden that medical collection account appears on your credit report. Now you could have maybe a 580 or a 600 credit score. So now you don't qualify for the specific programs that you have. You could have, let's say an FHA loan says, hey, lender, close your eyes, pretend like you don't see that medical collection account, but you can't close your eyes and unsee the credit score. So the impact is really going to be on credit scores, okay? And the CFPB, they did a study in 2022, and they looked at, there were approximately $49 billion worth of collection accounts that they were looking to remove off of credit, which they pretty much did. And over half of all collection accounts were medical collection accounts. So over half of them. And think about it. If you get hit by a bus, God forbid, now you have 7 years of dealing with medical bills and everything else. So now you're going to be paralyzed. You're not going to be able to buy a house. It's going to be tough to buy a car, anything, furniture. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's something that wasn't your doing. Like you didn't mean to jump in front of a bus, right? Unless you wanted to commit suicide, right? So, life happens and things happen. So that's going to be something that we're really going to need to look at, and we're going to have to see how that's going to translate, because right now this is brand new. So in the next month or two, we're going to see how that plays out. Are we really going to see a lot of these medical collection accounts going on there? Now, there is one thing that the credit bureaus are doing. If a collection account is under $500 and it's within a year, they're not going to put that on. Okay, so within the past 12 months and under $500, that's not going to show up. But these larger medical collection accounts can, and I guess maybe will. We're going to find out. Only time will tell. So a real quick update on some top stories. Fannie Mae update their predictions that interest rates were going to be a little bit, or they think are going to be a little bit lower, and home price appreciation will be a little bit lower as well. Good for buyers, bad for sellers. Once again, real estate local, depends where you're at. And then we have the credit. This is the second big news that came out in July with credit. We had FICO and Vantage scores. If you didn't see the podcast, talking about the Vantage score versus FICO scores, there's two credit scoring systems now that mortgage companies will be able to use in the future. Not right now, but they're rolling this out. So in the next couple months, we'll start seeing that. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, watch the show on YouTube, The Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez. Follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. Leave some comments. Tell me some show topics you'd like me to cover in the future. And remember, hit some likes. It really helps the algorithm. Hope you enjoyed the show once again. Remember, this show is Everything Real Estate, and I'll see you next week.